In 1947, Texas City, Texas, experienced one of the most catastrophic industrial disasters in U.S. history, an event that would become known as the Texas City disaster. On April 16th of that year, the SS Grandcamp, a French cargo ship, was docked in the port of Texas City. The ship was loaded with a highly flammable and potentially explosive cargo, 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer. While ammonium nitrate is commonly used in agriculture, it is also known for its explosive properties, especially under high temperatures and confined conditions. The chain of events leading to the disaster began early that morning when a fire broke out in the hold of the SS Grandcamp. The crew initially tried to contain the fire using traditional methods, but they faced an uphill battle. Compounding the issue was the decision to seal the hold and pump steam into it, a standard firefighting procedure for ships at the time. Unfortunately, this method did not extinguish the fire. Instead, it heated the cargo and increased the pressure within the hold. Despite the visible smoke and growing heat, the full danger of the situation was not immediately understood. By 9:12 a.m., the inevitable occurred. The ammonium nitrate detonated in a massive explosion, obliterating the SS Grandcamp and creating a shockwave that devastated the surrounding area. The force of the explosion was so immense that it was felt as far as 150 miles away. The blast shattered windows in Houston, 40 miles away, and even registered on seismographs as far away as Denver, Colorado. It created a towering mushroom cloud of smoke and debris, a sight that terrified and mystified those who witnessed it. The explosion's immediate effects were catastrophic. The blast leveled buildings within a 1-mile radius of the dock. Industrial facilities, oil storage tanks and businesses in the area were engulfed in flames. Among the first responders were local firefighters who had been attempting to extinguish the blaze on the SS Grandcamp. Tragically, most of them perished in the explosion, as they had no way of knowing how volatile the situation truly was. The destruction extended beyond the port. Entire neighborhoods were flattened and over 1,000 buildings were destroyed. Homes, schools and businesses were reduced to rubble. The human toll was staggering. More than 500 people lost their lives and thousands more were injured. Many victims were unrecognizable due to the intensity of the explosion and the subsequent fires. The local hospital was quickly overwhelmed by the number of casualties, and makeshift triage stations were set up to treat the wounded. The force of the explosion hurled debris over vast distances. A 15-ton anchor from the SS Grandcamp was found over a mile away from the site of the blast. Pieces of the ship and its cargo rained down on the city, starting fires in buildings and fields. The initial explosion caused a chain reaction of destruction. Nearby industrial plants and storage facilities, including a Monsanto chemical plant, were heavily damaged. Fires raged uncontrollably, fueled by chemicals and oil from ruptured storage tanks. As if the first explosion wasn't devastating enough, the chaos was far from over. The SS High Flyer, another cargo ship docked nearby, was also carrying a significant amount of ammonium nitrate. The explosion from the SS Grandcamp had ignited a fire on the High Flyer, but the extent of the damage was not immediately apparent. Over the next day, desperate attempts were made to move the High Flyer away from the dock to prevent another catastrophe. These efforts failed, and on April 17th, the High Flyer exploded. This second explosion compounded the destruction and added to the already staggering death toll. The Texas City disaster remains one of the deadliest industrial accidents in United States history. In total, over 500 people were killed, including entire families who lived near the docks. Thousands were injured, with many suffering from burns, broken bones and other life-threatening injuries. The disaster left the city in ruins, and survivors faced the monumental task of rebuilding their lives and their community. One of the most harrowing aspects of the disaster was the challenge of identifying the dead. Many bodies were burned beyond recognition, and it took weeks to account for those who had perished. Families anxiously awaited news of their loved ones, and the tragedy left a lasting scar on the community. Despite the grim circumstances, the resilience of the people of Texas City shone through. Volunteers from across the region came to help with recovery efforts, providing aid, shelter, and comfort to survivors. The Texas City disaster also had far-reaching implications for industrial safety and disaster response. The tragedy highlighted the dangers of improperly stored hazardous materials and the lack of adequate emergency protocols for such incidents. In the aftermath, significant changes were made to improve safety regulations. The disaster led to stricter controls on the storage and transportation of ammonium nitrate and other volatile chemicals. These changes were critical in preventing similar tragedies in the future. Another significant outcome of the disaster was the legal and financial fallout. Survivors and families of victims filed lawsuits against various parties, including the US government. This marked one of the first instances where a class action lawsuit was filed under the Federal Tort Claims Act. Although the legal battles were complex and prolonged, they set an important precedent for holding parties accountable for industrial accidents. The Texas City disaster is a stark reminder of the potential dangers associated with industrial progress. While the advancements of the 20th century brought many benefits, they also introduced new risks. The tragedy served as a wake-up call for industries around the world to prioritize safety and preparedness. It also underscored the importance of community resilience and the human capacity to recover and rebuild in the face of overwhelming loss. Today, the Texas City disaster is remembered as a pivotal moment in US history. Memorials and commemorations honor the victims and survivors, ensuring that the lessons learned from this tragedy are not forgotten. The disaster's legacy lives on in the form of improved safety standards and a deeper understanding of the responsibilities that come with industrial development. The explosion of the SS Grandcamp was not just a local tragedy but a national event that resonated across the country. News of the disaster spread rapidly, and Americans were shocked by the scale of the destruction. The federal government and private organizations quickly mobilized to provide aid. Relief efforts included financial assistance, medical supplies, and manpower to help Texas City recover from the devastation. In the years following the disaster, Texas City rebuilt itself, but the memory of the event remains deeply ingrained in the community. Survivors often recount stories of heroism and sacrifice, from the firefighters who gave their lives to the ordinary citizens who risked their safety to help others. These stories serve as a testament to the strength and compassion of the human spirit. The Texas City disaster also serves as a case study for emergency management and industrial safety. It has been analysed extensively by experts in various fields, including engineering, chemistry, and public policy. The lessons learned from this tragedy continue to inform modern practices, ensuring that such an event is far less likely to occur again. In the end, the Texas City disaster stands as both a cautionary tale and a testament to resilience. It reminds us of the importance of vigilance and preparedness in the face of potential dangers, while also showcasing the remarkable ability of communities to come together and rebuild after unimaginable loss. The legacy of the disaster is one of progress born from tragedy, a powerful reminder of the need to balance industrial growth with safety and responsibility. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more stories and share your ideas for the next video in the comments.